Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Nina and I run Clay by Claire. You can also find me on Instagram at Clay by Claire. Anywho, I'm going to jump right into this, tutorial. So this was my first time making a coconut bowl from scratch, and what I started off by doing was obviously cleaning the shell, and then I just started sanding, which is what you can see me doing right now. I actually wasn't planning on filming myself doing this, so I don't start at the very beginning, but essentially what I did was just sand, sand, and sand. And here I'm showing you what it looked like at the halfway mark of sanding. Anyway, then I continue sanding, and you can see me just sanding and sanding some more. It's a really great shoulder workout for sure. My shoulder was burning. Anyway, here I'm just sanding the inside of the coconut just to make it like really nice and smooth. This was after I had washed the coconut bowl. And now I'm just taking a bit of like coconut oil and just rubbing it all over the bowl. So you can actually use any type of edible cooking oil. It should work. But I decided to just use coconut oil just to stick with the theme of coconuts, I guess. And it worked really well. I think I might have done about like 3 to 4 layers in total. Yeah, so here I'm just showing you what it looked like before, so the other half of the coconut, and what it looks like after I did it. Yeah, I was really happy with how it turned out actually. Okay, so here I'm just showing you what you're gonna need for the resin portion. Obviously the coconut bowl that we just made, some pigments for the ocean, an extra cup, and some seashells. And of course the resin. So I'm using a medium viscosity resin for this particular project. Here I am just measuring out the resin and the hardener in 2 separate cups, and then I mix it together. I actually ran out of my measuring cups, so I'm just using up these plastic cups that I have, and then I'm going to go buy some silicone cups. I'm actually quite new to resin myself, so I did not really invest in other cups yet. So anyway, so I mixed the two together, and here I am just mixing the resin. So when you mix the resin, you want to be able to mix it really slow, just because you don't want to trap unnecessary air bubbles, and it's going to make your life so much easier when it comes to, just neatening up your work at the end. So here I am just mixing and mixing. I typically mix my resin for about 3 to 4 minutes before I transfer it to a second cup. So I use the 2-cup method of mixing. So here I am just pouring the resin into the pigment cups. So for this project, I'm using a dark navy blue and like a sky blue, I guess. So here I am just mixing up the resin and the pigment together. Oh, also, if you have any questions about the exact names of the materials I use, just leave me a comment or message me on Instagram and I'll be super happy to tell you. So yes, here I am just showing you how I'm mixing the pigments into the resin. Yeah. And as you can see, the bowl is a bit unstable if you just leave it, standing by itself. So I decided to put it into a large mug just so that it would be as flat and the resin would be as even as possible once I poured it in during the curing process. So that's why I put it into that mug that you see. Anyway, here comes the fun part. So this is where you pour in the resin, you start to make your pattern. I didn't really have any, I didn't have any sort of like idea of what I was going to do in the sense of like a pattern. I think maybe I wanted to do some sort of marble effect, but as you will see later on, it's not really a marble as you will see later on. But honestly, it turned out really great at the end, so I'm fine with it. Also, this was my first ever ocean seascape that I ever made with resin, so I was pretty happy with how it turned out. Yeah. So here I am just sort of mixing the two colors together, just sort of trying to create some sort of like pattern. Oh, also this is just the first layer. I do 2 layers of resin, so this is just the first layer, and after I did the first layer, I let it cure for about like 6 hours before I went in again with the second layer. So the instrument that I'm using right now is called a heat gun, and essentially it's a glorified hairdryer. So honestly, I think a hairdryer will also work perfectly fine. It essentially bursts the bubbles that is present in the resin, and it also helps to sort of move around the pigment, so you get like a nice effect. Yeah. And here I am just placing some of the seashells. You don't actually need to put the seashells in, but I just thought it would be like a nice extra touch, so I decided to go ahead with it. As you can see, I'm like really trying to like figure out, ooh, where should I place it? Which is why my hand was hovering over the coconut bowl. And now it's actually been 6 hours already, and here I am mixing the second layer. So again, it's the same process. I measure the resin and the hardener in 2 separate cups, and then I mix it. Then I put it into 1 cup and start mixing. So here I am just mixing the resin using the 2-cup method again, like I mentioned earlier. And yes, I'm just mixing. I would definitely recommend that you spend time mixing your resin really nicely, because that's going to ensure a successful cure. Your resin isn't going to become sticky. Oh, so here I am mixing a white pigment, and this is for the wave effect. So I just took a tiny bit of resin and a tiny bit of the white pigment. I know some people use like that lacing pigment, and I can't remember the name of it right now, but I did not have that, so I decided to just use a plain white acrylic pigment. Yeah. And yeah, that's just my clear resin, which is what I'm going to use for the top coat. So as you can see, I'm just pouring in the resin now. So that's just nice clear resin. And this was the fun part. So this is where you get to make your waves. So I just took a tiny bit of the white resin and just sort of made little lines in the clear resin. Honestly, I think I went a bit overboard with the white, to be honest. But it's fine, it turned out okay. So I'm just using the heat gun to just sort of disperse my white all around. As you can see, it's going a bit crazy. The blast from the heat gun is actually quite strong, so it's moving the resin around quite fast. So I'm trying to control it by going slow, turning it on and off. I'm so glad my hardener was not open, because otherwise that would have spilled everywhere, the resin hardener. And here I'm just taking a little skewer and just sort of like moving around the white a bit, just to make it a bit more wavy. Yeah, and honestly, that's about it. You let it cure for another 12 hours, and you're good to go. You have a coconut ocean bowl. I don't know what to call it, but it's cute. Yeah. If you make this, please tag me on Instagram, message me on YouTube, send me pictures. I would love to see. So here I'm just taking a few close-up shots of the bowl. I am so happy with how it turned out. I was not expecting to be able to actually make a coconut bowl from scratch. Yeah, so I'm really happy with how this turned out. And I hope you liked this video. Please give it a like, comment down below, send me your feedback, connect with me on Instagram. I would love to, you know, connect with all of you. And yes, thank you for watching.